What is up, everybody? It is Online here. Welcome back to another video. And recently, the PlayStation 5 has been a big discussion, and that's kind of due to Micheal Pachter. And if you guys didn't know, Micheal Pachter is kind of like an analyst, and he makes a lot of predictions in terms of stock, but as a side thing, he kind of does the video game market and kind of like the video game industry. So he recently came out to talk about the PlayStation 5, and he kind of made 3 bold claims, and I kind of wanted to go over those bold claims today and kind of, give my thoughts on them and why I think some of them are wrong and why I think some of them are right. Whenever he makes predictions, a lot of people like to joke around that it's going to be the opposite, and usually he's kind of like a hit or miss guy. But I think he did hit this nail on for the most part. So let's go on to what he had to say. So talking about the PlayStation 5, he was talking about how he thinks it's going to be a half step to the PlayStation 4 Pro, and it's not going to be really like the next big PlayStation. And to further that claim, he thinks it's going to release in 2019, 3 years after the PlayStation 4 Pro. Now that to me seems likely. And on top of that, he thinks it's going to be able to play PlayStation 4 games and PlayStation 4 Pro games. So this is going to be kind of like a backwards compatibility system. You could play your old PlayStation 4 games, your whole entire library from the PlayStation 4, going to be available from the get-go on the PlayStation 5. So going over this information, I think a lot of this is kind of like obvious stuff to me, except for the whole backwards compatibility. Now, talking about the PlayStation 5 to me has always been a discussion of 2019 or 2020, and really I always think that 2019 is kind of like the sweet spot. It's 3 years after the PlayStation 4, which itself was 3 years after the PlayStation 4, like the OG PS4. So, it seems to kind of add up in terms of numbers in that way, and overall it just seems like all these exclusives are coming out in 2018, 2019, and, these are kind of like the final waves of exclusives that we're kind of seeing. Maybe this next E3, and from a year from now, we'll be kind of getting the last PS4 games announced for the system. But, really these exclusives that we're seeing, like Death Stranding, Last of Us Part 2, these are all kind of like the final exclusives for the system, in my opinion. And I think that maybe E3 2018 has some, exclusives announced for the PS4, as kind of like a last thing. But really, I really feel like this thing is going to definitely be coming in 2019, 2020, and we're kind of getting the final wave soon here, But, going on top of that, off the year, I think he kind of nailed that. I think it's definitely 2019. He did say 2019 or 2020, but I think he kind of, thought it's going to be 2019. And I do too myself, so. Yeah, going over to the half-step part, though, this is kind of where I think he's a little bit wrong. Now, Sean Layden recently also came out about the next PlayStation. He was saying that the PS4 always is like a half-step. It's never going to get exclusives from the PS4. It's always going to be like kind of like a big brother to the PS4. Always has the same games. But, he said that the next PlayStation will be like their next big step, and that's definitely going to be coming. So he kind of announced the PS5. We all know the PS5 is going to be coming eventually. So, he just kind of confirmed that, and that's going to be the next big step. So, Sean Layden himself actually did already confirm that this is kind of going to be like their big step. And yeah, I think that we all see that coming. It's definitely going to be like a big step from the PS3 to PS4 to PS4 to PS5. Now, in terms of what they can change, this is kind of what I want to talk about because, from PS2 to PS3, of course, we saw big things like graphics and a lot of graphical fidelity get improved. And really, from the PS3 to PS4, we saw a lot of features and OS updates. The graphics did get improved, but a lot of it was OS related. The OS is a lot more snappier. There's now party chat. There is now a lot more features such as rest mode, a lot more stuff you can do with the system. To me, the big changes to the PS4 were always things like the OS and kind of like the rest mode and everything that they kind of added with that. Graphics were good. We did get 1080p. We're getting finally 1080p games, from the PS3 720p. So, in that department, we are finally getting full definition graphical fidelity, and we're kind of going to 4K now. But really, on top of that stuff, what else can it improve? Backwards compatibility, what he said right there, is definitely something that I think that Sony should hit. If there's anything that, has been a big complaint recently from the PS4, it's the fact that we had to use PlayStation Now in order to play old games like Red Dead Redemption or something like that. A lot of people just want to have their games from the PS3 just be able to be over onto the PS4 and just be able to own them, because the thing about PlayStation Now is you can play the games and run them, but you don't really own the games. It's just kind of an annoyance in a way. Sony itself invested a lot of money into Gaikai services, so in itself, they're already kind of at a loss because I think PlayStation Now is kind of bombing. There's some people that think that PlayStation Now should be bundled with PlayStation Plus. I think that's a good starting point, and definitely if there's not going to be backwards compatibility, definitely add that. The architecture for the PlayStation 4 is definitely going to be a lot more accessible, a lot more easy and adaptable, so even then, going to the PS5, it should be a lot easier to play these PS4 games onto the PlayStation 5. I definitely think it's going to be a thing that Sony is going to be trying to get the edge on Xbox with. That's really like one of the major things that Xbox has over the PS4 at the moment. Is that, Sony seems to be doing good in every other department, but that and online, I guess. So, online is not really something that will really go over to the PS5 and then get improved, I guess, if they want to do a complete rehaul of the PSN. You know, servers were always an issue back in the early days of PS3 and the late days of PS4. You know, we all remember clearly that whole big PS4 outage that lasted for weeks on end. That was terrible. You know, they seem to be getting better at that. But, you know, other than that, you know, we just want PSN name changes. I guess that's all on the PSN side of things, but just going over what Sony can really do with the PS5, what we saw with the PS4 was kind of the things that the PS3 really couldn't do, like party chat and being a snappy OS, kind of like the Xbox 360 had, and they kind of improved that. You know, the things like the DualShock, that got improved to the PS4. So really, I think with the PS5, they're going to be doing, again, trying to go over the things that the PS4 did badly, or just didn't do as up to par as they wanted to, or just things they can feel like they improve on, as well as pushing, innovating things like kind of what they did with the light bar, with the DualShock. I guess that was a cool little thing. And just maybe like the little speaker inside the controller. I wonder what they're going to be pushing for the PS5. Honestly, this thing is like kind of like 3 years off, so I kind of want to talk about Micheal Pachter. But it is kind of cool to talk about what the PS5 can possibly do in the future. But yeah, I kind of want to talk about the PlayStation 5 today. I felt like it's pretty interesting to see because we're kind of like on the second half of the life cycle of the PS4 and PS4 Pro. You know, we kind of already had the 3 years of 2013 to 2016, and now we're like halfway through 2017. And yeah, we can't be that far from the PlayStation 5, you know, that reasonably far. So always nice to talk about, you know, new systems. It's always an exciting time. Again, we still have a lot more to do with the PS4. I just really want to get all these exclusives like God of War and Death Stranding and Last of Us Part 2. But it's always cool to talk about the future of PlayStation and just overall to see what the, you know, future of gaming in general is. So do you guys think that PlayStation should go forward and do the whole, you know, smart vote thing and just make their consoles upgradable? Do you think that they should go back to like, you know, traditional old, you know, get a new console, you get all these new things, and you have to upgrade if you really want to get to all these cool new stuff? You know, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. And yeah, I think it's only exciting. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. Definitely exciting times ahead in the next couple years ahead. But hey, we still have exclusives to play. It's always just nice to just talk about it. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. As always, I've been online, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out.